Welcome to Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about why it's awesome to live in Boulder and Boulder County. And today I am joined by my good friend, Nell Rojas. And I'm just going to come right out and say I've been really anticipating this conversation since a couple months ago when we booked it, but also just because Nell is one of my favorite people ever. Just really have so much love in my heart for Nell. Nell, it's true. I don't know if you knew that, but I just love you and I think you're wonderful. And I can't wait to have a conversation with you today on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
So thank you for being here and just kind of an overview here. And this is, again, I do a pretty poor job with introductions, but my best intro here is that you are one of the original Boulder people. You grew up here. You went to Boulder High. You left to go to NAU, Northern Arizona University, I believe. You correct me where needed.
Okay, that's true.
That part's good so far. And then you embarked on some incredible post-collegiate athletics through triathlon, where you and I intersected, and through running. And I'm going to try not to look at my notes, but I do know that you went into marathoning and you won Grandma's in 2019-ish?
2019-ish, yeah.
Okay, 2019-ish.
Yeah.
And then you were Olympic trials for the marathon in 2020, and you've been 10th in Boston.
I was 5th in Boston.
5th in Boston. 10th in New York.
10th in New York.
Top American in Boston.
Boston twice.
Yes.
Yeah, you did good.
Más o menos.
Yeah.
So, but like an incredible running pedigree so far, and you've been doing the long distance stuff for a shorter period. But all of that also, and I'll keep saying some praise, you run an amazing business here in Boulder where you coach and you guide athletes. And I watch you as well online, and you're really a champion for women in sport, but I would say just generally women's empowerment seems to resonate when I think of you. And also, like, you really get in and kind of advocate for people of color in your sport, which is a minority. And I just think you're an awesome community member. Does that feel like a fair thing to say?
I hope so. I try my hardest to, do what I can. But thank you. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot because, it's hard. You never think you do enough no one does, right? So it's good to hear that that's kind of like what you see.
Yeah, well, for sure. No, and I think, one of the things I remember, and this, again, I like to go sort of in an order here, but I will say, since we're on this right now, I remember chatting with you when we first met, and you're such a good athlete, and you're such a hard worker, and you were struggling at that time saying, do I go into sport because I feel like I should be doing more? And I heard you say that, and this was probably, 9 or 10 years ago, and so now when I see you, still excelling in the sport and really growing. And I think you have a lot of your best years ahead of you, most of them. You're doing that. You really are. I mean, you're taking care of your people and you're promoting people. And I think it doesn't go unnoticed. So kudos. I think you're doing that well.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
And that's it. No more compliments for the rest of
Yeah, please. Please.
Not trying to embarrass anyone. And those of you that are on YouTube, you'll see that Rocco has joined us. Nell is also a sibling. She's a sister to a great family. She's got an incredible family here in Boulder. And I want to kind of zig and zag back into the intro, something that has never really happened before here, I don't think. Nell won the Boulder, which most of my audience, runners or not, know of the Boulder. She won that in 2018?
19.
2019.
Right before Grandma's. Yeah.
And 40 years before that, her dad won it. Your dad, Rick, won the race.
Mm-hmm, the first one. Mm-hmm.
The very first Boulder. Mm-hmm. So Rick Rojas, Nell Rojas, family legacy here. But that's cool. Doesn't that feel cool?
It's really cool. Yeah, it feels like a special thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No pressure to the dads and daughters out there, but they've got it locked down. So, okay. Well, let's go back then and do kind of like I enjoy doing is kind of start at the beginning. So, I don't know any of this story. So everyone here listening gets to hear this for the first time with me, or maybe they know it my first time. What, you were born here or you were just raised here? Tell me about your early days as Nell in Boulder.
I was born here. I was born at Boulder Community. No longer. Well, no, it was on Broadway next to North Boulder Park at the time. And then I was also raised here.
So born and raised. So yep, that old hospital that is now getting developed into
Yes.
a bunch of stuff there
Right.
on Balsam.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Well, you've seen it all. So all the development. So born here, raised here. What tell us, because some of us, have kids or have gone to school here as well. What schools did you go to growing up? What was the kind of elementary, middle, high?
I went to New Horizons. Are
Okay.
you familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Crestview, like
Yeah.
right on that
Yeah,
street.
totally.
Yeah.
It's a It's a cross. It's on Sumac.
Yeah,
It's,
Sumac, yeah.
Was it bilingual then?
Bilingual. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. We had Artie and Isolda.
Okay.
ran it.
Yeah.
Isolda. And then Jose.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Private school, a private
Private preschool.
It's funny enough, I'm going to just interject.
Yeah.
When we had kids, everyone's like, you have to get on the list right away. Valentine was 6 months old, and we met Isolde, and we were like interviewing, and she's like,
Wow.
you're a little ahead.
She was 6
But she had 6 months old. They're like, you might come back here in 2 or 3 years. But I was really impressed. So you went to how many years there at that school?
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea. Yeah.
A couple,
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
But they were
Carry
great. We had chickens.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great experience from what I remember as a preschooler.
Yeah. What a fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my mom was really involved in that community. I still have friends from that community.
Okay.
All those years ago. And then I went to Uni Hill, which is where Valentine
Yes.
went.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still goes. And
Yeah.
Zane. Yep.
Oh,
They're both
still
there.
goes.
They're
Wow.
both. Yeah.
Okay. And Zane. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. I went before it combined with Washington, so it was
Okay.
a little different.
Yep.
It was probably still alternative. It was very alternative at the time.
Okay.
Is it still?
I mean, it's now. I would say it's unique because it's all open enroll.
Uh-huh.
So all neighborhoods all over Boulder
Yeah.
County go there, which
Okay.
is what makes it unique. And I think from an alternative standpoint, it's a dual language. So
Yeah.
half the day Spanish, half the day English.
Oh, the whole school.
The whole school.
Okay.
Preschool all the way up.
Okay, so I was in the bilingual program. Me and my older brother were in the bilingual program, and then I have 2 older brothers. The other brother there was a non-bilingual program you could be in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which was cool because he couldn't do the bilingual thing. Like, it
Yeah.
was just not for him.
Yeah.
But we could still both go
Together. Yeah.
together.
Okay.
It wasn't as popular as it is now. It wasn't like hard to get into or anything.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
You did love it.
I
Okay.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a great experience. And then I went to Centennial.
Okay. Yep.
Where are your kids going to go?
I don't know.
Before I say
It's so no. Tell us. Lay it on. That's our neighborhood school. I mean,
Yes.
it's all fair. You went
Yeah.
to Centennial, right there where the track is, where
Right.
all the runners hit. So good or bad experience there.
I mean, it was middle school,
Must
so
have
it's
been.
like hard to say, but terrible.
It was terrible.
Terrible,
Okay.
terrible.
Hard to say how terrible it was.
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, if I talk to like my mom, she's like, yeah, it was like, I don't know. If I talk to some of my friends' parents, they're like, I hated Centennial. Like, we didn't
Okay.
have a good experience.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, middle school, whatever. I was there for 3 years. We lived right there. I lived off of Linden. It took
yeah.
like, 10 minutes probably to walk there.
Easy.
And then I went to Boulder High,
Yeah.
and I loved Boulder High.
And you loved Boulder High. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you mentioned it, and you have 2 older brothers. Grown up, the third of 3, 2 older brothers. What were you guys into as kids outside of school? Sports, activities. What was it like were you getting pushed around, guided? Did they take care of you? What was the story there?
Oh, so yeah, one of my older brothers, he's 6 years older.
Okay.
He's just like, I always, whenever the opportunity comes to talk about him, I take it because he's just like the most amazing person I've ever met, which has, I've learned this past couple of years how much an impact, what order sibling you are.
Oh, yeah.
Has on you. But anyways, my older brother, Rico, his name's Rico. He was like really good at sports, really unique, really cool. He went to Boulder High. He unbuttoned like his one button on his shirt every class period. Like he was prom king. He was in the play. He was in cross country. He was in. He won like all of the academic awards. He went to he went to UPenn, then he went to Harvard, then he went to Stanford, and now he's a physics professor at NYU.
Holy
and
smokes.
I was just over at NYU in New York, and he did his tenure talk. And it was just like, it's just like, and if you were to talk to him, you'd talk like, metaphysical stuff, you'd talk philosophy, you'd talk, like, he drinks a lot of wine, he likes jazz, he goes to, he stays up, he parties. He like is just like such a unique individual.
Amazing.
So he kind of taught me to be, it's like this pull, because as a female, I think it's very different. And he keeps me honest. Like, if I post something on Instagram and he's like, that's weird, that's not you,
Right.
It's a little disintegratous. I'm like,
Okay.
Shh, you're right. Damn
Yes.
it, okay.
Yes.
So he keeps me in check.
I love that.
Yeah.
Super well-rounded. And he's been that way since you described him that way in high school. He was that way as you're 6 years old, or just guidepost?
Yeah. I mean, he never really like he didn't, my older brothers, they never like bullied me. They never protected me. They never I was just their younger sister, and I
that's cool.
kind of had to, I was just like, I obviously watched them and learned from them. And, so
it's neat though. And so he's that guy. You guys are still obviously pretty close. I mean, you got to see him and spend that time with him. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And then my other brother, I think went the opposite direction, probably the most athletic in our family. If he wanted to pursue running, he probably could have, done loads more than me, but also very smart. But he has lived in Central America for the past, 15 years or something. And I think he was more like, all right, saw what my oldest brother was doing, like, get me out of here. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that workload. And so he found a life that kind of suits him more. Like, he travels a lot. He's a teacher.
Okay.
He's a really cool guy as well. Very, none of my brothers don't have cell phones. They don't have cars. They don't have Instagram. They don't have, they're just like.
How does your older brother Rico follow you on Instagram then, if he doesn't have a phone or Instagram? How does he know what you're posting? No.
Well, they both have girlfriends.
Okay. Fair. I'm just teasing. I'm actually curious, because it's what a wonderful thing to not have a phone. But
right? I know. Every day I'm like, actually today I had a conversation with my training partner. I was like, I'm going to get rid of my Instagram.
It's so tricky because what I know, and again, a little segue, what you do for your profession is made maybe better or more reach with your Instagram.
Right.
But it's such a
it's
hindrance,
hard.
pain in the butt.
It's hard to navigate how to be your realist self. I was going through the hardest time in my life, I would say, last year, like 2023, 2022, 2023, 2024.
Yesterday, today.
I woke up today feeling pretty, no. And it's funny, like, I'll run into people around town a lot because, and they'll be like, Nell, oh my gosh, wow, you are killing it. And I'm like, and like, it really opened my eyes, because I was like, is that what I'm portraying? And I know I am, yes, I have a lot of amazing things going for me, career wise, but like, I was like, whoa, like, people really think I'm just killing life right now. And that is not how I felt at all.
You know what? I applaud you for bringing that up, because I think it's really an important thing to bring up, that we all kind of on the surface understand that you post on Instagram what you want to, and we never want to talk about the lows or the hard. You don't really you're not pulling your camera out, especially at those times. You're not feeling inspired to share it. But so then it does look like the highlight reel is all that's going on, when, like you just said, you're having some tough years. I mean, I think there's got to be some way we could, this is not where we're going with this podcast, but like, well, maybe it is, but that's somewhere we need to go as a society to help each other navigate that.
Yeah. But it's also like, you don't, even if you did want to be like, hey, I want to show, a lot of different aspects of my life, you don't want to be a victim. You don't want to be like, you don't want to post things, like whatever I post, I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not doing it so that I get some sort of validation.
Sure.
So that's why it becomes tricky. It's like, I want to be real, but I don't want to I'm not going to cry on,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
I'm like,
different. Yeah, I get, no, but you know what? And I think the people that know you, and this is where it comes down to it, and I don't pretend like I know you the best. I'm not your inner circle, but I think that when people know and love you, they know what you're doing. And so it's that, and this again is a hard thing to filter out. The people that see you, oh gosh, Nell's being a victim. That's not your tribe. And so they're going to always mistake what you put.
That's true.
And you can't, we're not going to please that. And it's a majority often of those people outside that have that access.
Right. And then sometimes I make mistakes. I'm like, yeah, I posted that for the wrong reason.
Yeah,
you know, and
sure.
like we all do, right?
We all do. Yeah. We'll come back to that because I am curious about, you know, what you said with your training partner about getting rid of it. And in this day and age, as a professional athlete, as a full-time athlete that makes your living running and promoting the sport and promoting your response from yourself, it's a necessary component, but how can it be more productive for our overall mental health and well-being? I mean, there's yours and everyone that follows you. Maybe podcast number 2 will do that. Cause I think, or offline, have a glass of wine or a bottle of wine, talk about that. Cause it's, I mean, there's something there.
Yeah. And there's probably different ways to approach it, and different things work for different people.
For sure.
Depending on.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think in the end, and this is where I'll leave that one. And this is how I truly try to live, is I use that vehicle as a way to express myself, be it my business or my family or my goofiness or my smart or my dumb, whatever, the same way I would anyway. It's just true. I truly just try and say, you know what, if I'm ever not being genuinely me, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
And because you don't anyway, and that's the guideline for me is like, you know what? And
exactly.
And I sell real estate. I do commentary, I raise a family, and all is so different. And I do podcasts. But either way, if you come here expecting to have something other than what you know about, you know, me, then I've messed up. Like, you know, I'm dorky and I'm gonna make a dumb joke and Rocco's gonna, you know, that sort of thing. I think that's in the end, before we get too deep, that's where I think you should guide. It's Nell.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Put it up there.
Yeah.
Because you're awesome. Like you are, you really are. I go back to the comments. Like, you are really, truly one of my favorite people to root for, cheer for, see you. Every time I see you at the grocery store, I'm excited to see you.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Zane. Every time I'm like, Zane, what's up, man?
Yeah. He's all quiet at that moment, but in the cheese section.
Right. I forget last time he was like eating something. I was like, I don't think you're allowed to eat that right now.
Now, don't talk about my parenting on a recording.
I didn't judge it though. I was like, yep.
Zane is just like me. We're always eating. No, more so him. So, okay. Well, this is fun. So you led with this though. Let's come back to, you're growing up in Boulder with 2 older brothers, but to your point, you guys are also individual. What was for you? When did you find your groove outside of school and family, for example, like your sports? I think you played basketball, didn't you? And other sports, were you just more traditional? What was the story there?
Oh, I mean, I grew up in the best era ever, you know, in Boulder. I grew up on Buckeye Court, which was, you know, it's 2 blocks, east of Broadway off of Linden. And I grew up, you know, playing outside until it got dark, you know, shooting hoops until it got dark. I was really into basketball. So I would practice basketball every single day in, you know, when it wasn't winter, and I would make Jess play with me, my older brother play with me. I get mad when he was, beating me, and he'd be like, well, I'm not going to play with you if you're going to be mean to me. I'm like, no, you have to stay here.
Well, you're
stay and play. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And, you know, I played, you know, just like every kid, I played soccer, basketball. I ice skated a lot. I was really into ice skating at CU. So like after Uni Hill, after school, I'd walk over to the CU ice rink. Yeah. I got like to the highest level at that.
Figure skating. Nice. I think I did hear that once. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then got more into running. I was lucky. Like, my dad is a running coach and really into running, but I can't remember one time he was like, you have to run or you should run. Smart. Yeah. I mean,
smart.
Yeah. And he lets me guide my training. He's my coach. He lets me guide my training. He just waits, and I tell him like, here's what I want. Here's where I want to go with it. And he's like, all right, here's what I can do. You know, here's how I can help you. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now you're in high school. What sports did you play in ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th? What were you still doing? All three, all four?
I
Skating?
did. Yes, there was 4 of us that did all 3 sports all 4 years.
Okay.
At Boulder High. It was me, my best friend Chelsea Williamson, who is like a beast. She played softball and was really good at basketball, and she was a shot putter.
Wow.
She was awesome. She's still one of my best friends. And then John Kide, who
Okay.
ended up playing football at Stanford. And then Tyson Quiller. And I don't know what happened to him. And then me.
And you guys, so you said you did the same 3 sports all 4 years.
Yeah. So
And varsity, or you're just saying you just did them? Like
varsity. Yeah.
that's fantastic.
yeah.
What a record.
So I was really, really good at basketball.
Okay.
From when I started, because I've been this tall since I was in kindergarten, and I'm 5'5". Seriously, I'm 5'5". I've been this tall. People were like, "Wow," and I was like, "Yes, straight to the WNBA." Seriously.
Right. Just wait till I'm 60.
Exactly. And like my parents are like my height, so
Yeah. Dang it.
yeah. And so I was really good. And then I think it was my sophomore year of high school, maybe even after my freshman year. Me and my 2 best friends, we were like the best. And we went over to play tournaments in North Carolina.
Oh.
And I got destroyed. Like, those girls are bigger, they're aggressive. You know, I got absolutely like demolished.
Oh, man.
And I came back. That must have been sophomore year, because I came back from that and could never play again.
No way.
I
You were
couldn't
just
play.
like out of the pond.
I
You're
was terrified. Yeah.
smacked around.
Yep.
So the 3 sports though at high school were
Cross country in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then track.
Perfect. Okay. So you came back sophomore year, you're going into junior and you're like, basketball, you're dead to me.
I loved it still.
Yeah, but you were scared.
But at that point, I was like kind of riding the bench.
Should I not have said scared?
Cheering.
You didn't go with that.
Scared.
Okay. So you're all right. Confidence or your ability?
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so many funny stories though. Like, my friends still make fun of me for so many basketball stories, because once I got bad at it, like, it was just funny, to be honest. Like, people would like, you know, I was like one of those people that when you score, like, everyone cheers for, because they're like, yeah, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, little Nell made one.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that? Okay.
Right.
Whereas you were dominant. That's wild. What a study. That's okay. But meanwhile, you were pretty good at cross country, or great, goodish. What were you thinking?
I was goodish.
Yeah.
You know, typical high school girl. Freshman year, I think I was 3rd at state.
Okay.
I did really well. And
pretty
then
good.
no, but then just like got worse and worse.
Oh, I see. Typical in that.
Went through,
start of the thing. Puberty
like
and kind of development and
and like had to go through that. Still, I was fine. I walked on to NAU though.
Okay.
I didn't get recruited.
Okay.
I didn't get a scholarship. I walked on to NAU. And got more money every year. Like, I walked on, I ended up being one of the top runners.
Yeah.
And then by the end, I was like the top runner and on a full scholarship. So.
Okay. Okay. And so you're an NAU, for those that aren't playing along at home, is in Flagstaff. And that's a pretty cool spot to go. Were you happy to leave Boulder to go there? Was it an okay transition?
You know, I didn't like NAU.
No.
I didn't like Flagstaff.
Didn't like it. Okay.
You know,
small.
When you're in high school, you know, and I was pretty like, you know, I was into movies and boys and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was into like, my social life was good.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't too serious about anything.
Gotcha.
I kind of was like, I wanted to have fun. And at Flagstaff, you know, it's changed a lot now, but it takes like a certain, like, you're gritty when you go into Flagstaff. Like, it's like a, you know, kind of small, dirtier, you know, it's not like a big, fancy party school that you're envisioning yourself going to college.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was tough for you? You're saying it didn't really fit like a glove at first, or it didn't ever fit?
I had some good friends and I got some really good running opportunities. It was also like, I just like think I'm a late bloomer. Like, you know, it's hard being a human.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
Mic drop. It is hard being a human.
Hard being a human.
So, but if I didn't make this up, you won the steeplechase 3 times and for your conference.
Yeah. Big Sky.
Big Sky. And you won the 5K once. So those are hard events. I mean, steeplechase, brutal. Are you starting to find your flow, or you're still kind of like, yeah, I'm not very serious?
I was like,
Más o menos.
I wanted to be serious, but I was like pulled. I was like socially peer pressured and pulled into like, partying and, I mean, not like crazy amounts at all to be, but I was still in this like weird, like, if you look at pictures, I was like, chubby.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It was good, probably. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So I've got a great picture of a very fast, moderately serious, somewhat chubby, partying, really good, winning. No, but I know, it lines right up now. I mean, again, that's you. Like when I met you too, you were in triathlon. So you moved back, dates. Now what year did you graduate from NAU?
2010.
So 10, you graduate, and where'd you go? Did you come back to Boulder right away? Were you?
I went to Spain for 2 years.
Oh, I think I knew that. I remember that. Tell me where? Madrid.
La Rioja.
Oh yeah.
Wine region.
Where they have the delicious red wine.
Yep.
In the South. Yep.
And I trained there. I was like on a team, which was really fun because I got to travel a little bit, kind of experience there, like
incredible,
weird running culture.
Yeah.
Where they're like eating full meals before their races, and you're eating oatmeal, and you guys are both looking at each other like you're weird.
Yeah.
They're like looking at me, and I'm like looking at them, and then you realize like, oh, okay, I guess it's
culture.
Normal. Like, I guess this is weird too.
Totally. So weird. You guys are both yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So then 10, 11, 12, you're in Spain. And what brings you back to the States, and where do you go?
I was like eager to start triathlon career. Like I was eager to start training hard.
Why? You were doing triathlon over in Spain, or you're doing running?
I was running, but I was kind of training for triathlon.
Why?
Like I had a bike. Why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like we haven't gotten to that yet. You didn't grow up swimming. That wasn't on your list.
That's true.
And you didn't, so tell me more about that.
Well, when I graduated from NAU, I was burnt out in running.
Okay.
Like probably most student athletes are. Yeah. It's just like,
Heard that story?
Yeah.
Yep.
And my dad was like, do you want to try triathlon? I think you'd be really great.
Okay.
And that really, I was like, yeah,
Amazing.
I really do. And then I wanted to go into it right away, but then there was this opportunity to travel. Yeah. And so I was like, I better take that and then come back and do that. So yeah.
And so you did that. And I remember, I think when you came back, you came to Boulder, right? You're doing triathlon. And I think you went into sort of immediately like, I'm going to do short course, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, at the time, it was like there was a bunch of like Olympic distance non-draft.
Yes, true.
Money in that 100%. And a bunch of races to go to.
And there is more again now. I think, you hit a kind of an era where it was, when you got in. And I bring that up because I think, and this is I'll segue to, and I share with this a lot of my conversations. When did I first meet Nell? And you reached out after a couple years of doing some short course racing, and you were having some success doing it here and there, but you were looking for a change. And I was coaching at the time, mostly half Ironman and Ironman athletes. And I will say this, and Nell, this is 100% no BS. You came in and started training with us, and I was like, holy mother scratcher, this girl could win everything.
Wow.
And like, I don't know everything, but I've been in the sport a long time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this is like, get her on the half Ironman circuit. She's going to be world. I was like counting world titles. And then, but you're like, really? But you trained and we trained for a little while. And I got to know you, and I thought even more every time because the work ethic was really good. But the balance, like you had a really good competitive nature, but you just have and this is a true compliment. You have the ability to be laid back, which is very rare in elite sports. And I think that's a huge asset. And so then that's where we intersected. And so I like to share that. How do I know Nell? Well, that was in maybe 15, I think, 14 or 15. Does that seem about right?
Yeah.
And you didn't, but you came in, and that was, I think, a struggle point, right? Tell me about that. You weren't really sure about staying in the sport. Maybe you'd already done a few years, but what happened in that era here in Boulder?
I think what happened was, I was always very heavily influenced, once again, like by my brothers and being well-rounded.
Yeah.
I also had some really great role models growing up, and just like giving back, being well-rounded. was really important to me. And when you're young, you don't understand anything. So you don't know that there's time for that, or you don't know that it's okay to do what you're doing.
Yeah. Fair.
And you're always like in a hurry. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And I loved doing triathlon. Like I loved the training. I think what kind of was my last, I think I've told you this before, but I was living with my mom.
Yeah.
Because I was also like, I think I was at Boulder Running Company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And I couldn't afford living on my own because I was pursuing triathlon.
Yeah.
And, I was getting into like my mid 20s and I really wanted to be independent and I couldn't do both really.
Yeah.
And I had to buy I had just finished like a jar of protein powder and I could not buy another one.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess that's where training ends.
Yes. Yes. No, I know. And it's a hard, you've said it very well, because I think at that age, you want time to go more quickly than it is, and you don't understand that there is time, and that growing. It's simultaneously a very selfish sport.
Exactly.
But it's a selfish endeavor. But it's also a very you rely on so many other people, and so you sort of balance this. Like, how do I make it? I need other people. I need to stay at home with my mom, or I need to have people give me things or sponsor me or enable this. But in the end, you can't. It's a horribly hard moment.
It's really hard,
right? And I do remember that, and you were also, I feel like there was part of that too, where you did express that to me. I want to do more. I don't want to, in quotes, just be a triathlete. I want to give more and be well-rounded. And so to me, I'd say you were very true to that. And that's, I didn't have that when I was 27, or, I barely have it now. Right. So, I mean, kidding. I did not have it. And it's also, I applaud you for making that decision. Let's talk about your interaction then with Boulder, and you kind of just, how did you get to where you said, you know what? Because you did some Spartan races. You have a good friend that does Spartan races. I know that as well. Watched you did really well. Won a couple. I mean, you crushed it. You're like, oh, I'm good at this too. What made you get in and say, you know what? I'm going back to it. I'm going to get in and I'm going to be a full-time runner or coach and run, like really make my effort at this. How did that start?
So really what happened, I was building my coaching business throughout this whole process.
Yep.
And I was coaching a lot of Ironman athletes.
Right.
And I had never done one.
Right.
And I barely knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Really. Like, I was like anything I would, when I was younger, I did. Like, I would really do my due diligence and read about it. And I mean, I would stay up late just like researching and doing whatever. So I wouldn't say I was probably a really good coach. I don't know.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I cared, basically. Yeah. But I remember being like, okay, I think I could be good at an Ironman if I tried. And I think I want to do it because I can make money this way. I could be a better coach. I could have more validity. I could, this could help my career in both ways.
For sure.
And so I was like, I'm going to do a marathon first to see if I could do that. And that was like kind of the first step, because I needed to buy a bike again.
Right.
And I was like, oh God, I need to buy a bike again.
Sure.
And so I trained, I was running about 60 miles a week. I was building my coaching business. I was having fun. I was doing a lot of strength training at the time.
Yes, that was good. I did those.
Yeah.
A couple of those. Hard.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I had the Speed Factory that your team came in and I did some coaching for them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the first marathon was CIM.
Right.
And I ended up running an ACE Olympic standard.
228.
No, my first one was 231.
Oh, 231. Okay.
Yeah.
First,
and
slow. Just kidding.
I had no idea what I was.
First one, 231.
I didn't even know it was good. I didn't even know what an ACE standard meant. I didn't know what my goal was. I was just like, my dad was like, Nell, let's try this out. Let's see if you like it, first of all, if you want to do it, if you want to train for it. And he was like, and this is what I tell all my athletes now. I'm like, look, the slower we approach this, the further you can go in it. So he's like, jog it, just jog it.
Right.
And so I started out the race jogging, and then I just kept getting faster and faster.
Yes.
And I ended it, and I was like, yeah, that was awesome. And I did well. And that was like when my running career started.
Decided to start
Yeah.
it. Yes. What a great, I do actually remember you saying that. You were like, gosh, what could I have done if I'd gone even a little bit faster at the beginning? Because you had a lot left at the end.
I did, and I don't think I could have
Probably
gone
not,
fast.
yeah.
Like that was probably why I did so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the right answer. So amazing. So and that was what, 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2019, so over 5 years, and you've been doing this have you ever, because you've been in Boulder now, you left for 6 years. I mean, essentially,
Yeah.
right? And so, I mean, yeah.
I've been in Boulder for a long time, and I've
Yeah.
been trying to leave for a long time.
Yeah, where are we trying to go next? Somewhere else.
My goal is New York City. Like
New York City?
I love New York
What?
City. I love everything about it.
Okay.
My goal is to be part-time in New York City, which is not conducive to running. So,
Well, and part-time because of your business here, or just because of
because of, I have so many good things going on here. It's like to leave it, there would have to be a really good reason why.
This is something the love where you live / I want to leave, because again, I asked this question. So there is, I mean, we talk about the positives. There's a lot of positive, and I kind of joke. We intro the podcast with why it's awesome to live in Boulder County, but guess what? Sometimes that's talk about the negatives and talk about why you would want to leave and what's out there. And there's plenty. And so if we stay there for a minute, what they're completely opposite. There is a common thread. We see people go both ways. I mean, I could tell you in the real estate, people move. It's a big mover from New York City to here. I've two families just this year that are moving out here.
Yeah.
But also the other way, because I don't know if it's a personality type, but what would take you out of Boulder to something that's that different to here? What are you missing? What do you want? What do you love about New York?
Well, reasons that I can't be in Boulder anymore.
Yes.
I'm single.
Okay.
Not a place to be single.
No other single people? Why? There's no dating? It's just a terrible place?
I mean, yeah, there's no single people. It's a lot of like, young families. It's small. There's a certain type of person that's here. It's hard to get a lot of diversity.
For sure.
It's hard to get a lot of people with a mindset that, like, in Boulder, it's people, they are type A personality, which I kind of am. I mean, I am a type A. Like I'm very motivated. I'm driven, but I'm also not like that. I'm not like we've talked about, like I like, other aspects,
Sure.
I like staying up late. I like nightlife. I like a little bit of music. I like diversity. There's no diversity here, so it's hard to find people that are different here, I would say. I think because I'm single and I don't have kids, like I am like, let's go explore, let's go, and that's not really the mindset of a lot of people.
Yeah, you don't have a tribe to do that with, or I get that.
People come here to settle down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And there's Menver. I could go to Menver and find, but Menver's the land of the lost boys, and those boys don't want to grow up.
Okay.
So
is that what they call it, Menver? I am so.
You've never heard of Menver?
0 times. First time right here.
Good.
Tell me more about Menver. Well, you said it. I mean, you basically summed it, but carry on.
Well, Menver,
It's hilarious.
there's more men than women,
I didn't know that.
so that's good for women.
Should be.
Bad for men, probably.
Yeah, probably. Unless you're into men as a man.
Yeah, exactly.
In which case.
Unless, yeah, exactly.
But sure.
But that's the kind of stereotype, is that they want to play. They want to play in the mountains. They want to play.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So finding the right person in that town is hard, especially because you also don't live there.
Exactly.
And so if you're here and that's there, and so this is so a primary driver though. Then if I'm summarizing, is you'd like to find it would be fun to find a cool person and have someone.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of what you just described. It's not a booming, like we have a lot going for us here in Boulder, but it's not a place where you go for diversity, major cultural music, staying out late. Our town falls asleep at 10.
Oh,
unless you're
8.
9.
8.
I rounded up because I'm asleep at 8, so I don't really know what happens
Yeah,
after 8. So true. We don't even have a good place to go at like 3 a.m. to have
3 a.m.
diner food, right? Or 2 or whatever. Like,
No. No. I mean, look,
crazy.
I'm not like
I
a late
know.
night, but
I'm just saying.
no.
We lack that.
Or like if I wanted to go like to a jazz club, you know?
Yeah.
Or if I wanted, even like, yeah. So that's one reason anyways.
Okay. Yes.
It's hard to talk about, it's hard to not mention that I'm single when you're single.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's, yeah, I understand that. And I think it's, I think that really when you come back to it and you look at where, and this is really a deep section of the conversation, but you are who you are here, there, or anywhere. No matter where you go, Denver, New York City, or here. I'm going to start saying that all the time now.
Yeah.
But you're you. And so you're going to carry you with you. Right. I mean, it's fair to say that that's something that I think takes really adjusting to that reality. But if there's various elements of your life that you're missing that aren't available here, then there's certainly like, hey, well, New York City offers that. Right.
And I'm not, you know, I'm honestly, I'm not like in a big hurry because I do have a lot of unfinished business with running. I'm still deep in, you know, like I'm excited about running. I love training. Boulder, there's no better place than Boulder. Literally, there's no better place than Boulder.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
For being outdoors and being good at what you do.
Yeah.
Running, biking, swimming, rock climbing. There's so many outdoor everything. So I agree. Have you, at this point, have you thought about doing still that Ironman that you didn't do or no?
You know, every once in a while. But the cycling would be so tough to get back into for me.
Because it's not enjoyable.
Time-consuming.
It's very time-consuming.
Time-consuming,
It's extremely. The worst thing about Ironman is it's time-consuming and it sucks your energy. Like we sort of talked about before we started this conversation, it is a very demanding of all. Like it takes your energy.
Oh, yeah.
And so it really hurts other areas of your life. You won't be wanting to stay up late and you have less energy for your social life and for your business. But it is also, and partly this is just, I am a huge believer in what you are capable of as an athlete, you in particular.
Well, now that you said that, what you said earlier, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get back into it.
Totally. If you
I need to get back.
If you want to, you would excel. I mean, I'm certainly not telling you to go back into triathlon. I think that you have a lot of, because you did that 231 and then you 228 and a 224.52 or what age. I mean, it's like your running is exceptional and you can see that dropping. But also with that caliber running and the way that you swam, which was totally great. It wasn't front of the lane, but it's like it was excellent.
You don't have to be an Ironman. Yeah.
And then you were awesome on the bike. I do remember that time, and I'll try and close this instead of reminiscing, thinking that the combination of your natural ability and your work ethic, but then that beautiful part that I really think you're not type A plus, you're type A minus, which I feel like there's a subtle difference there where you get the part of that easy side of that sort of, it's really hard to put into words, but you have that. And that's hard. People get crushed over various things that you don't. And that's a massive tool that I think you use that in your whole life, hopefully, because it really is an asset, I think.
Yeah, thank you. I try to, as an athlete for my whole life and almost, as a runner, there's so many runners that start, after college or as adults or they start jogging in college. But I think when you start young and you have this intuition and you've learned lessons that people are learning now and you learned them when you were in middle school, you learned all the lessons of being super nervous or putting too much pressure on yourself or working too hard, So I try to, and it's hard to teach. It's hard to teach because it's almost something people have to learn on their own. And you kind of just sit back and you're like, yeah. And you kind of ask questions and you okay, kind of try to guide. But I try to help my athletes with.
I bet you're good at it because and it's hard because you have done it your whole life. But to express that and see it and ask those questions, Yeah, I bet you do a great job with that. So let's see right now, tell us about we'll talk about your business. Tell us about what you're doing. Cause we talked about the Speed Factory and the gym and the strength sessions. Tell us overall kind of what you do for work here on that level here in town.
I mean, right now it's mainly like I have a coaching business. A couple coaches coach under me.
Nice.
I have right now about 50 athletes.
Okay, fantastic.
Half of them are in Boulder, and we
Okay.
have one track session a week, which is like really fun,
Super cool.
so valuable.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what I do.
That's what you do. You write programs, you coach people remotely, you coach them in person, you guide them full service coaching kind of.
Yeah. And then, I have about 20 projects, I'm sure as you do, written down in my notebook that I'm like, I really want to work on this. And,
Right.
and
Yeah.
there's so many other ideas that you can do with when you work with people and coaching.
Totally, 100%, so much. Okay, so you're doing that, and then what about? I know we talked briefly about your running. So you said 23 and 24 are hard, personal issues. We don't have to go into that. I mean, I know you're kind of health and wellness issues. Are you feeling like you're on the upslope? Do you want to share anything about that? Are you feeling good? Are we going to see you at the turkey trot in 2 weeks? What's going on there?
Basically, yeah, I think what happened in these last couple of years was vital to everything. And what I learned is how like everything is tied together. Like your whole like mental, emotional, physical is all like so closely related,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
And so honestly, as a coach now, because I coach mostly women, because that's
Okay.
just who I attract, and I'll see in their comments on Training Peaks, or they'll text me, or we'll talk, or I'll see them at practice and say they're like, something's like work is stressful or blah blah blah, and then like the next week they're like, I don't know why I'm just getting all these cramps, and and I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like you see so many correlations.
Yes.
And it's made me a much better coach to go through it. Basically, like I went through a breakup a year and a half ago, and since then I haven't been able to perform at all.
Yeah.
And because it brought up, it brought up so much shame and so much grief and guilt and all these things that I couldn't just like wipe under the rug. Like I had to deal with, and I had to like work through, and it's just taken a while, and I felt it all very physically.
100%.
And it's not like I've been running, I've been trying,
Yeah.
and so I'm doing a lot better. I'm on the up and up, and so yeah.
And you're optimistic.
I'm always, I've been optimistic. I wake up every morning, I'm like, today's the day. And then
Today's the day.
my training partner, and I'm like, today is not the day.
Tomorrow's could
the
be the
day.
day.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really kind of a bit of hogwash that's like sort of accepted and has been for so long, and you just brought it up in a really nice way, is we kind of talk about mental health, and it's like, as though it were something different from health. And I think that's the thing, that mental health and emotional health and physical health, it's all health. It's all, you can't address one without the other.
Nope.
And I think that we segment it out, and maybe there are people that specialize in helping you in these parts of your health. But I think that we really have all been, and I could be wrong here, but like I really feel like what you're saying is, globally. So it makes complete sense to me. If you have pain, that's mental health. If you have I mean, it's all, you're feeling, everything is health. And so you feel the various things. And like you said, it's very real. The sadness or whatever you're going through, the anger,
The grief,
the joy. Like if joy makes us perform better, why wouldn't sadness? You know what I mean? It's just, I think that the more we get to where, and you're on the right track, is in recognizing that there's just health. There's health overall. So address that, from nutrition, from sleep, from the meditation and the mindfulness, whatever it is you need to do to address the global picture of health. you're doing everything. You're serving all of them, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just, and where are we? We don't, so anyway, I like that you're doing that and you're helping your athletes with that. And I hope that you're getting kind of the ground, the steps and the footwork that you need because
I am. Yeah.
good.
And like, it's almost like there's no way I would have plateaued anyways had I not like gone through this and, kind of worked through this. And now I think there's a new level that I can like unlock.
I love that. I'm just looking at the time here because I like forgot to check our time, and I don't want to keep you past what I promised. But no, I love that, and that's and I think that I mean I'm excited to watch because as I've made it clear I'm a fan. People are gonna be unbelievable. They're like, why does he keep saying that? But it's really true. So all right, a couple of things that I can't let you off the hook for. Just with regard to Boulder, and we've talked about some of the struggles. What, if you were to just kind of, and this maybe will be fun for you, what's a perfect day like in Boulder County for you? If you scripted it and you just said, this is how I pass the day, and you can name restaurants or coffee shops or jazz or running or people or anything, just how does it look any day of the week where you say, this is how I really love to interact with Boulder County, Boulder area, just a perfect day for Nell Rojas. What would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I'm really, really lucky that my days are like, most of my days are like exactly how I would like script them. And that's like one of the best things about, and that I don't take for granted because it's like, how long is this gonna,
I've
I'm
got
like
it good.
kind of like whistling. I'm like, oh, does anyone notice?
Yeah.
But basically, I wish I was a morning person, but I'm not.
Nope. No.
I'm not.
Nope.
I don't set an alarm, which once again, I'm lucky. But yeah, I wake up. I would, there's this new cafe, Cassiopeia. Have you heard of it? So I live in the Steel Yards.
Okay.
Love the location.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And there's 2 cafes that just opened in there.
Verb.
Verb, yes, that was a while ago.
Count. Okay, sorry, carry on.
Logan's just moved there.
No way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Logan's lives in the Steel Yards.
In the Steel Yards.
I saw him on his skateboard recently, and I was like, where's he going?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Because I think he also lives in the Steel Yards. I
Yeah.
think.
I
see him walking around.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He used to skateboard there back from the old Logan.
Really?
And he came in one day with,
he
had like a, anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was
Careful.
hurt. He had fallen going downhill from, okay, so Logan's is there. I am so glad you told me that. I'm going to go in there.
I know. It opened like last week. Cassiopeia is like a women-owned, it's for female cyclists. It's so cute. Go in there. Love it.
I will.
And it has like this really cool atmosphere. You can go and like work. It's like 2 steps away from where I live.
Super.
So, if I had the opportunity, I'd wake up, my Wednesday morning workouts, so fun, like so fulfilling. I always leave being like, wow, I need to do better for these women.
I love that. Yes, I love that. Yep, I get that.
And then, so I'd coach. I'd probably go get some coffee, go on a run with a friend. Like for example, today I ran with a friend. I'm about to run with another friend, and then I'm going to meet. It's like, and then what else would I do? Let's see. I would run. Where would I run?
Tell us where you'd run. Yeah, what kind of run would that be?
I love Lobo Trail.
Okay. Anywhere in particular? Where'd you start?
I would start probably at Tom Watson, go
Perfect.
up
Yes,
through Niwot.
Yep. Beautiful.
Or Bobolink. That's like a go-to for me if I want flat.
Yes.
And then where would I go to lunch? You know where I went the other day that I haven't been to in a while that like I was like, is the Great Harvest. I got a sandwich.
Oh,
gluten-free bread. It was so good. I was like, wow.
Little sleeper.
It's really good.
Arapaho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Loved it. And then I would probably go on another run. I would do some work. I usually have some calls. I usually have some emails. I wrote an article for Training Peaks today. I like doing stuff like that. It's fun. Mm-hmm. Keeps my brain working.
It's a good thing.
And dinner. Where do I like to go to dinner? I went to Santo the other day. I love Santo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you appreciate the New Mexican.
Love New Mexico.
I know. Yes. Okay. No, brilliant. I mean, here's the thing. This is the takeaway. Obviously, good suggestions. I learned two things today from a coffee shop standpoint, but you're living the dream. I mean, you're doing what you want to do. You get to do your perfect day all the time.
It's ridiculous.
It's good.
It's ridiculous.
Well, you deserve it.
Thank
Come
you.
on. You do. Come on.
I mean, I hustled so hard.
You still hustle. And that's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
you won't stop hustling. And I think that's the beauty of it is that, good things come to people that do good. And you're out there hustling, working for yourself, working with other people, giving back. Like, that's your jam. You're putting it out there and it's coming back.
Thank you.
100%.
I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. Before I start crying. No.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Folks, that was just a joke. All right. So there's two little ways to sort of segue out. I sent you a little, hey, we might talk about this. As you were kind of come over here or last night or earlier, whatever, today, did you think of something you wanted to share that I haven't addressed or that you'd like to bring up while we're still here? And no is an acceptable answer. I never want to put someone on the spot. But if there's something that you thought, well, gosh, you didn't ask me about this, then I'm all ears.
Let's see about
Not really.
really.
I mean, the thing was, and Nell, this is why this is just really fun and why this conversation and these podcasts are so cool is that there's a little bit of a guideline that I think we might talk about, but there's a whole lot of stuff we didn't address because we talked about a lot of cool stuff. That's how I feel. And hopefully you feel the same. I know people in our community and my sphere intersects with yours so much. People are going to love having the chance to hear from you.
Yeah. And thank you. I'm trying to think about like anything I would talk about and surrounding Boulder and a conversation I had yesterday actually is I was in LA for like this running thing. And if you go to LA, there's like all these running crews. They call them crews there. Okay. And they're like loyal to the bone, and every neighborhood has a running crew. Yeah. And it's all like they're all about diversity and inclusion.
Oh, cool.
Right. And they're about getting people out there, changing lives, motivating people, kind of like living a healthier lifestyle, finding meaning, inspiration, meeting people. And you can tell it's like prominent that is the goal. Yeah. It's not about times, but some people, it is like, there are some that are like, okay, we're trying to get faster. What can you do? Let's do this marathon. And so I've been lucky enough to get over there a couple times and kind of like experience the crew, learn from it, kind of watch. And I was like, how can we bring this to Boulder? Yes. But it's a very different mindset. I had a friend recently who's not a runner, and she started running, and she started, I could see it. I could see her gaining confidence, it kind of like shifting her lifestyle, feeling really good about herself, wanting to do more. And even like she would say it, she'd be like, I just feel so good, and then it rolls to other parts of your life. Anyways. She started coming to my Wednesday groups. Oh, nice. And my Wednesday groups, my people at my Wednesday groups are like the nicest. We're very welcoming. It's very positive. I'm sure. It's like so fun. Everyone loves to be there. Good vibes. But she was really still intimidated, and she was like really like, kind of felt like she didn't belong. And I was like, oh man. And I was like doing what I could to like kind of switch that and be like, we're about that, whatever, trying to like mimic the LA vibes. And what I learned is I was like, oh, like to do that, Boulder has a different mindset. Everyone's very like, time focused and, it's everyone's there to like work hard and get their workout in. And so I was trying to convince one of my friends to start a crew with me because he started his running career in LA. He's from Compton, and he like was part of a crew, and then he moved out here to like pursue running basically. Oh. And I was like, the crew culture, like, cool. Will you please start a crew with me? And then I wanted to recruit my friend who like kind of knows the experience of how intimidating it is. And anyways, To convince him to start a crew with me, and I'm still trying to convince him. But
Well, we can do it. I think you need to do it. So essentially, it's more about the community
yeah,
than it is about the
running
performance.
performance. Exactly.
That sounds,
Yeah.
and you know what? I think I'll kind of just circle up with that with you later, because I think there's, where I'm in life right now is much more about community and running
Yeah.
and connection
Exactly.
than it is about performance, which was a time in my life. And I think that that's something that I would be psyched to help, nudge people that way,
Awesome.
show up, endorse it, support it, promote it,
Right.
whatever, because I do love this community and I see the flaws.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And
There are flaws.
a lot of them probably
things
started.
missing.
Missing things, and they could have started as strengths, and then they've degraded. And again, whole different conversation. But let's sync back up on that now, because that's a cool idea.
Awesome,
A
yeah.
running crew in Boulder,
Yeah.
or mini crews.
Yeah,
So,
mini crews. Yeah.
very cool.
Cool.
Well, amazing. I feel like, as I knew, this time has gone very fast, and I feel like we could do another conversation. We'll keep that one unrecorded, and let's connect again soon, Nell, because I would love to hear more, and just be around you, because you're just one of my friends. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was fun.
And thank you for sitting with Rocco
Yeah,
the entire
I love
time. He's going to be,
Rocco.
hopefully you have to take a vacuum to yourself with it if she's shedding. But in the meantime, folks, I'll do as I always do as I close an episode, and I'll say this: until our next time, please go out there and do something that you love.